Okay, so the next topic that we are going to learn is set. So we have learned list, we have learned tuple, which are basically a collection of different data types. The next data structures we are going to learn is set. Okay. So let's see what the set is and what are the corresponding syntax and other details. So set text. Okay. Not txt, sorry. Set examples. Okay. So first let's understand what is a set. We have learned list, we have learned tuple. So as opposed to list and tuple, set is basically a structure that also stores a collection of different data type, but set is an unordered collection of items. Okay, it's an unordered collection of, or let me make it more specific, it's an unordered collection of unique items. Okay, so there are two keywords, unordered and unique. As opposed to list and tuple, set is an unordered collection of unique items. What does this mean? So in case of a list, say for example, L is a list, and if I write 1, 4, 6, 8, 9, 12, 24, sorry, 45, 12, 4, 1. So L is a list, it consists of a collection of different variables, but here L0 means it's a first element, which is 1. L1 means it's a second element, which is 4. L2 means 6 in this way. Okay, so here there is an order. All right, and second thing is that in a list there may be or the same item may be repeated. So 1 has come twice, 4 has come twice, 12 has come twice, in this way. Okay, so in a list or in a tuple, the order is important, and second of all, an item may be repeated. But as opposed to this, a set is an unordered collection of unique element. All right. So for example, a set of students in your class, there is no order. It's an unordered. And second thing is that it consists of unique element. Okay. One student cannot be repeated in a set. Good. Okay. So that's the main difference between set as opposed to list and tuple. Set is an unordered collection of unique element. Okay. So let's see some example, and then it will be clear. Okay. And whatever we are going to learn about set is basically equally applied to the set theory that you may learn in subjects like abstract mathematics. All right. In abstract mathematics, there is a section called set theory, and whatever the concept of set theory is going to be applied over here also. So even if we are learning it in a programming class, the concept is going to be equally applied in the set theory of abstract math also. Clear? Okay. So first let's learn the syntax. Okay. So the list, the syntax is we write the elements inside two square bracket. Okay. In the list, the elements are listed inside the square bracket. In case of a tuple, we have learned that the elements are written inside a first bracket. All right. And in case of a set, the elements are listed inside of curly braces or second bracket. Okay. And in set theory, in mathematical set theory also, the elements or the set members are listed inside two curly braces. All right. So in that way, the notation is the same. Yeah. Okay. So next, first see how we can define an empty set. Okay. So for example, I want to list my set of friends, and I want to start with an empty set. So an empty set can be defined by using this keyword set within first bracket nothing. Okay, so this is an empty set. You can print the length of your friends friend set. So if you run this program, it is going to print 0 because at this point you have no friends. All right, so this is an empty set. All right. Okay. Next, let's initialize some friends, or let's add some friends in your list. Yeah, Tom, Jerry. Let's add some names. Okay, Carol, Jean. Right. So that means these are the set members. Okay, these are the members of this friend set. Okay, this is the name of the set. These are the members or elements of this set. So Tom is an element or member of the friend set. Jerry is an element or member of the friend set. Okay, but as I said that set is an unordered collection of unique element. So let's see what does this mean. So I am printing friends, a friend set. So let's run it. So here you will see that the order is not maintained. It's not like the first element is Tom, second element is Jerry. Okay? The order is garbled. Okay, and the reason is because set is an unordered collection of unique element. Okay, if I run it several times, you will see that the order is getting changed. Okay, so in set there is no order. You cannot say that friend of 0 is Tom, friends of 1 is Jerry, and in this way. Okay, that's the one of the difference between set and list.tuple. Clear? And not only that, it is a collection of unique element. As I said, unique element means suppose I am repeating the same element more than once. Say Jerry. Okay, Carol is repeated more than once. Then Tom is repeated more than once. So if I print it, you'll see that Jerry is not going to be printed twice, Carol is not going to be printed twice, Tom is not going to be printed twice, because it's an unordered collection of unique element. Okay, clear to everyone? Set of students in this class, if I call that this is the set of students in this class, here no students is going to be repeated. Okay? So that's the two key points that I want to focus. And if I print the length of friends, it is going to print 5. Okay, because the number of unique element is 5. Okay, even if there are more than 5 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Even if there are 8 elements, but the number of unique elements is 5. Okay, clear to all of you? So these are the two very important properties that you need to remember in the context of set theory. All right. Now, suppose you want to check whether a certain entity is a member of a set or not. So the corresponding function is in set. So suppose you want to check whether Tom is in your set or not. You can simply write Tom in friends. This is going to return true if Tom is inside the set. Otherwise, it is going to return false. Okay, so you can print Tom in friends, which is going to return true in this case because Tom is a member of the set. If you just type Tommy, For example, it's going to return false because Tom is not a member of this set. Okay. So in this way, you can check set membership. Okay. Now let's see. Suppose you want to print the set elements line by line. You can do it as follows. So for element in friends, print it. So sorry, element in friends, print elements. So here you can see that all the set elements will be printed in different lines. Okay, and again, if you run it several times, the order is going to change. Okay, here Mathu comes first, Tom, Carol, Jim, Jerry, and here Carol, Jim, Tom, Jerry, Mathu is coming. Okay. All right. Now, suppose you want to sort the elements of this set. So that is a function called sorted. Okay. If you pass your set inside this sorted function and print the output, what you will get is the following. There are 2 points that you need to note. First is that this is sorted in the alphabetical order. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is that this has become a list. You see, this is not a set anymore. This has become a list. You see, this is inside 2 square bracket as opposed to curly braces. All right, so that means this has become a list. Why? Because you have sorted. That means you have already ordered them. So whenever a set is ordered, it has become a list. Okay, clear to everyone? All right, so this is the point that you need to notice from this line. So this is not a set, it is a list. Clear? Okay, now let's see what other function you need to learn. So now let's see how we can add elements in a set. Okay, we have initialized a set. Now we can see that after the initialization, suppose I want to add more friends in my list. Okay, how can I do so? So adding elements. So when we have learned list, we have learned 2 functions. Like if I want to add elements to a list, we have learned how to do it. We have learned 2 functions, which is append and insert. Right? Append adds an element at the end of the list, and insert, if you want to insert it in the middle of the list, you need to use the insert function. Clear? So in the context of list, we have learned add and insert. But in the context of set, the order is not important. So it doesn't matter whether it is getting added at the end or middle. These are irrelevant, right? So in this case, suppose I want to add one element, I can use the add function, friends.add. And here I can add, say, one friend called Arthur. Suppose I want to add another friends, Alice, something like that. Okay. Print friends. I can check that. I can see that Alice and Arthur is added in my friend list. Clear? Okay. Now let's see. So here also, after addition, also the order is not maintained because it is a set. It's an unordered collection of objects. Now let's see how to remove elements. So here we're going to learn 2 functions: remove and discard. Suppose I want to remove the element, I can write friends.remove. Here I can pass the element that I want to remove. Right? Say I want to remove Carol from my friend list. So I can write friends.remove Carol and then friends. So here you can see that Carol is removed from your friend list. All right. Okay. Now, in addition to the remove function, I can also use the function called discard. Okay. Suppose I want to discard, say, Tom. So you can see in this list, Tom is discarded. All right. So you can use either of these two functions, remove and discard. All right. But there is a small difference between the two. What is the difference? Suppose I want to discard something that is not there in my set. Say, for example, let's say Tom2. Okay. So in this case, it is not going to discard anything, but it is not going to raise an error also, or your program is not going to crash. That is not the case in case of remove. If some element is not there in the set, say for example Carol 2, it's not there in the set, your program will raise an error. Okay, so that's a small difference between remove and discard. If you use the discard function, even if the member is not there in the set, it is not going to do anything, but it is not going to raise an this is not going to give an error also. Okay. In case of remove function, if the element is not there, the program is going to crash. That's a that's a small difference between these two functions. Okay, now let's see. So by using these shorted functions, we have learned that we can convert a set to a list. If that is a set, and suppose I want to convert it to a list, I can simply use the shorted function, because if I apply any order, it will become a list. Okay. Now let's see how we can convert a list to a set. So suppose there is some numbers in a list. Let's add some random numbers: 1, 4, 5, 7, 8, 2, 3, 5, 89. Okay. And let's print this list. So this is a list. Okay, here we can see that the order is maintained. Now suppose I convert it to it, I want to convert it to a set. What can I do? There is a function called set, and you need to pass the list to this inside this set function, and this is going to return a set. Okay, let's see. So we'll see that this is going to return a set. Okay, clear to all of you? So the set is a function that is going to take a list and it is going to return a set. So if you want to convert from a set to a list, you can apply any order, or if you want to convert a list to a set, you can use this set function. Okay, clear to all of you? Okay, now let's use, or let's learn some set operation. Okay, what are the different set operation? Let's learn some set operation from the slide, and then we are going to apply it in this program. All right. So, and again, whatever functions I am basically covering over here, these functions are equally applied in set theory also. Okay. So let's take one example. Here you can see 3 flags, and here in these 3 circles, inside these circles, you can see some colors. Okay. So these are basically a set of colors in the corresponding flags. The first one is basically showing the set of colors in a British flag, set of colors in Canadian flag, set of colors in Italian flag. Okay, so Italian flag consists of colors red, green, and white. Canadian flag consists of colors blue, and, red and white, and British flag consists of colors blue, red, and white. All right. So these are the members of the set of British colors. Okay, red is a member of the set of British color, white is a member of the set of Canadian color, and so on. Alright. So using this example, let's learn some set operation. Or first, let's learn some terminology, and then we are going to learn some set operation. Okay. All right. So first terminology that we are going to learn is subset and superset. All right. So let's concentrate on the colors of British flag and Canadian flag. British flag consists of colors blue, red, and white. Canadian flag consists of colors red and white. Okay. So we can say that the set of colors in Canadian flag is a subset of the set of colors in British flag. Alright. Subset means a set is a subset of another set if and only if every element of the first set is also an element of the second set. Okay. So the set of colors in the Canadian flag will be a subset of the set of colors in the British flag if all the colors in the Canadian flag is also the elements in the British flag. Okay, clear to everyone? So for example, I can say that the set of students in this class is a subset of the set of students, set of all the students in this university. Okay, the set of students in this class is basically a subset of the set of all the students in this university. All right. Or other way, I can say that the set of colors in the British flag is a superset of the set of colors in the Canadian flag. Okay, subset and superset. Just the definition, it's just the opposite. Okay, if A is a subset of B, then B will be a superset of A. Clear? Okay. Now let's concentrate on the British flag and Italian flag colors. Here we can see that the British flag consists of colors red, blue, and white. Italian flag consists of colors green, blue, and white. Okay, so we cannot say that the set of colors in the Italian flag is a subset of the set of colors in the British flag, and vice versa. Clear? Okay. So I think the subset definition is clear. Let's practice this example. Say the British flag consists of colors red, white, and blue. The Canadian flag consists of colors red and white. And the Italian flag consists of colors red, white, green. So now I can check whether the Canadian flag is a subset of British flag or not, or set of colors in the Canadian flag is a subset of the set of colors in the British flag or not. I can use the is subset function. Okay. So Canadian dot is subset British. If the set of colors in the Canadian flag is a subset of the British flag, then this is going to return true, otherwise it is going to return false. So I can print the output. So you can see that it is returning true. Okay. On the other hand, if I print Italian dot is subset British, it is going to return false because the set of colors in the Italian flag is not a subset of the set of colors in the British flag. Okay, clear to everyone? Okay. Now, the next thing that we are going to learn is, or the next terminology that we are going to learn is set equality. Okay. So how can we check whether two sets are equal or not? All right. Say for example, if I print Italian equal to British. Okay. So obviously this is going to return true if it is the two sets are equal, otherwise it is going to return false. Okay. So in this case, obviously this is going to return false because Italian flag consists of color red, white, and green, whereas British flag consists of colors red, white, and blue. So they are not equal. Okay. Now let's bring the color of the French flag. So French flag consists of colors red, white, and blue. Okay. Let's write blue, red, and white. So as you can see that the set of colors in the French flag is same as the set of colors in the British flag. So let's see if I print French, sorry, equal to British, it is returning true because they both consist of the same set of colors. Okay, even if here the way I have written, the order is not the same. Here I have written blue first, red second, white third. Here I have written red first, white second, and blue third. Even if the order, the way I have written, is not maintaining the same order, still the sets are going to be equal because set consists of unordered collection of unique elements. Clear? Okay. So in this way, you can basically check set equality, and using this is subset function, you can basically check whether a set A is a subset of another set B or not. All right. Okay. Now let's learn other set operations. Okay. The first operation that we are going to learn is union. All right. So what is the union of two sets? Suppose I gave you two sets and I'm asking what is the union. So let's learn the definition first. The union of two sets consists of all the elements from both sets with duplicates removed. Okay, what does this mean? So suppose, or let's assume that the British flag consists of colors red, white, and blue. Italian flag consists of colors red, white, and green. So the union of the colors of British flag and Italian flag consists of colors blue, white, red, and green. So the union of set A and B consists of the elements that are in either on A or on B or both. Okay. The union of the colors in British flag and Italian flag consists of colors that are either on British flag or on Italian flag or both. Okay. That's what union means. All right. Union of two sets consists of all the elements from both sets with duplicates removed. Okay. Clear to everyone? All right. Next operation is intersection. Okay. So let's take the same example. So the intersection of two sets consists of the common elements. Okay, if I give you two sets A and B, then the intersection of A and B consists of the elements that are in both A and B. Okay, that are common to both A and B. So here in this case, the intersection of the colors in the British flag and Italian flag consist of the colors that are common to both, which are red and white. Clear? Okay. And the third operation is set difference. So the set difference of the colors in the British flag and the Italian flag is basically consist of the colors that are in British flag but not in Italian flag. Okay. The set difference of A and B consist of the elements that are in A but not in B. Okay. So the set difference of the colors in British flag and Italian flag are consist of the elements that are in British flag but not in Italian flag. Okay. Conversely, the set difference of the colors in Italian flag and British flag consist of the elements that are in Italian flag and but not in British flag. Okay, clear to everyone? So the set difference of A and B is not equal to the set difference of B and A. Both are not the same. All right. A set difference B is not equal to B set difference C. All right. So these three operations, union, intersection, and set difference, these three operations are equally applied in the mathematical set theory also. Okay. So let's see how we can use this in a program. or in this example. So suppose I want to take the union of the set of colors in the British flag and say Italian flag. All right. So British dot union Italian, and let's print it. So here you will see blue, red, green, and white. Okay. So if I take the union of British and Italian, you will get 4 colors. Right. It consists of the colors that are in British flag as well as in Italian flag, and both. Clear? Okay. Suppose I want to take the intersection of these two flags or intersection of the colors in these two flags. I can write British dot intersection Italian. So if I print British dot intersection Italian, I will get red and white, because the colors that are common to British and Italian are red and white. All right. And set difference British dot difference Italian is going to return the set of colors that are in British flag but not in Italian flag. So the set of colors that are in British flag but not in Italian flag is blue. All right. So let's print and check. It is going to return blue. Okay. And conversely, if I write Italian dot difference British, so this is going to return the color that are in Italian flag but not in British flag. So the color that are in Italian flag and not in British flag is green. So if I run it, it should return green. Okay. So these are the very important set operation: union, intersection, and set difference. All right. Okay. Now let's apply this understanding of set theory. So let's take an example, let's apply the concept to solve a problem. Okay. So here in this folder, I have basically downloaded a text file called rhyme, okay, for the purpose of illustration. So this rhyme consists of a nursery rhyme called Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So I think all of you have learned this. So let's write a program that is going to give you all the unique words in this rhyme. Okay. So it is going to read the lines from this file. Okay. And then it is going to store all the different words in a set. And as the set consists of unique elements, if you basically print the set, it is going to give you all the unique words. Okay. Basically, I gave you this file and I'm asking you how to find out or write a program that is going to output the unique words in this file. Okay. So the idea is that I'm going to read line by line and then store it in a set. And as the set consists of unique elements, so then the twinkle, this twinkle, and this twinkle is not going to be repeated. Okay, because they are identical. All right. So let's write this program. So let's call it, say, rhyme dot all right. So first let's open the file. So open the file name is rhyme. So this is the file, okay, rhyme.txt. And I'm going to open it in read mode. So this is my input file. And then I'm going to initialize an empty set. I know how to initialize empty set. This is the way I initialize the empty set. So let's name the set as unique words. Okay. All right. So now I need to read line by line from this line. Let's open it over here. Okay. So for line in input file. So after reading the first line, I need to split the line with respect to some delimiter. Okay. So at first, let's split it with respect to white spaces. All right. And then I'm going to clean it at the end. So at first, only use space as a delimiter. Okay. So line dot split. So if I do not pass anything inside this split function, by default it is going to use space as a delimiter. All right, and it is going to return the list. So let's call it the words. Okay, so in the first line it is going to return 3 elements: twinkle, twinkle, little, 4 elements: twinkle, twinkle, little star. Okay, all right. So then for words in the word, I'm going to add the corresponding words in this set. Okay, so this is going to be a list. I'm going to read the elements from the list one by one, and then I'm going to store it in this set. That's the idea. So unique words dot add. Okay, we have learned how to add elements in a set. So let's use this add function when I'm going to store the words. Okay, clear to everyone? So I'm reading it line by line. I'm splitting it with respect to a space, to space as a delimiter, and storing the elements that are coming out of this function to a list. And then I'm reading from the list one by one and then adding it to a set. Okay, the purpose of storing it in a set is that I want to list down the unique elements. Okay, all right. If I just print the list is going to print all the repeated elements like twinkle twice, okay, all those things. But I want the unique element, that's why I am using set. Right. So at the end, you can basically print unique words. All right, because unique word will consist of all the unique elements that are there in this file. Okay, so let's run it and check whether it is working properly or not. So here you can see that the output is a set and it is printing all the different words. Okay, and as it is a set, it is certainly going to be unique. Okay, clear to everyone? Okay, now if you notice carefully, in the output there are two main problems. Okay, what are the key issues in the output? The first issue is that twinkle, comma. So all the punctuations are coming. Twinkle, comma, high, comma, sky, full stop, night, full stop. Okay, so all the punctuations are coming over here. All right, so to get only the word or to extract only the words, I want to remove the punctuations. All right, and this is happening because I have basically delimited the sentence with respect to space. That's why twinkle, comma is considered as an element. Twinkle, comma is considered as an element. Star, comma is considered as an element. R, full stop, sky, full stop is considered as one element. Clear? Okay, so we need to sort out this problem. And second thing is that, so this twinkle and this twinkle are not two separate words. Okay, the only thing that is different is basically the letter. Okay, so as the letters are different, the set is considering them as two different words, but actually they are the same words, right? So I need to take care of the capital letter, small letter cases. Okay, so there are two issues that I need to resolve. First is I need to get rid of this punctuation. The second thing is that I want to print only the unique word, so capital letter, small letter. There shouldn't be any difference between a word written in capital letter and a small letter. Okay, so let's see. So to do that, before adding in this set, I want to clean the word. Okay, and to clean the word means, suppose twinkle comma is an element, I want to clean it to remove the punctuation. Okay, all right. So let's write a function called clean, where I'm going to pass the words. Okay, so this is going to return say clean word. This, and then this clean word I'm going to add over here. Clean. Okay, so this purpose of this clean function is that it is going to get rid of the punctuation. Okay, first it is going to get rid of the punctuation, and at the same time I'm going to make sure that this capital letter and small letter will be considered as the same word. Okay, so let's see how to write this clean function. Clean. So clean will take words. Okay. So this word is basically a string. Okay, twinkle comma is basically a string. So I need to check whether the string consists of only alpha character or not, or only alphabets or not. Okay, so everything that are not alphabets, for example comma and full stop in this case, will be ignored. All right, so I'm going to read the string character by character, and I am only going to consider the character that are alpha characters. Okay, or that are alphabets. All right, okay, so I'm going to output a string called result. So let's start with an empty string, and then I'm going to read the words character by character and check whether they are alpha character or not. If they are alpha character, I'm going to append this with this empty string. Okay, yeah, if they are anything other than alpha character, I'm not going to append it. That's it. So for character in words, you know that how to check whether a character is alpha character or not, right? We have learned a function called is alpha. Okay, we have learned different function: is digit, is upper, is lower, if is alpha numeric, is alpha. Okay, so here, as it is a rhyme, it consists of only alpha characters. So if character dot is alpha is true, then result is equal to result plus character. Okay, so I'm going to append the character with the result. At the end, I'm going to return the result. So this return result will not include the punctuations. So this clean word is basically consist of only the word with alpha characters, which will be added in the set. So if it works properly, this punctuation will be get rid of. Let's see. So here you can see that after twinkle there is no comma, after star there is no comma, and so on. All right. So the first problem is solved, but now we need to get rid of the second problem, which is the difference between twinkle with small t and twinkle with capital T. Okay, so how can I do so? Suppose I want to print the characters or print the words only in small letter. Okay, that's it. I want to print all the words in small letter. So this twinkle, I am going to convert it to lowercase first, and then I am going to add it to the set. Okay, so I think that operation is pretty simple, because while adding the character to result, I am first converting it to lowercase, and then I am adding it to the result. Okay, that's it. So corresponding to each and every character, it is going to check whether it's an alpha character or not. If yes, it is going to convert it to a lowercase and then add it to the result. All right, so let's run it. So here you can see that twinkle is there, but there shouldn't be any capital Twinkle with capital T. Okay. So this set consists of all the unique words that you will find in this rhyme. All right. Suppose somebody is asking you how many unique words are there in this rhyme. So you can basically add the words in this set, and then at the end you can print length of words. So here in this rhyme there are 35 unique words. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to learn is dictionary. Okay, this next structure that we're going to learn is dictionary. Okay. So in a set, you have learned that the set elements are written inside the curly braces. Okay, so there are three colors. In this case, there are three colors: red, green, and blue. All right. Now, suppose I want to build a structure that looks like this: that there is a person Romeo who likes color green. There is a person named Adam who likes color red, and so on. Okay. So I can use a dictionary structure to store this kind of information. So a dictionary structure is also, the members are also written inside curly braces, but here a member consists of a key value pair. Okay, here each and in a dictionary, each and every member consists of a key value pair. So in this case, a key is a string and a value is also a string. So here I'm saying that the person likes a particular color and so on. Okay. All right. And a dictionary, again, you can use different structures or different types of variables for storing key value pairs. So for example, you can build a dictionary that consists of your friends and their corresponding number. Okay, so the key is going to be your friend's name, value is going to be their phone number, contact number. All right. So different types of variables you can consider as key value pairs in a dictionary. And an empty dictionary is written like this. Okay. All right. So let's go to the program and let's write some, or let's solve some problems. So dictionary examples. Okay. So suppose I want to write a variable called contacts, and suppose this is a dictionary. Okay. So as I said that two curly braces means it is an empty dictionary. Empty dictionary. And here, I want to store the contact list of all my friends. All right. Okay. So just to summarize other structures, the list is initialized in, if I want to define an empty list, I want to write, I write L is equal to square bracket. Okay. If it is a tuple, then I write it in this way. If it is a set, initializing an empty set, I write it set first bracket. And then if I want to initialize an empty dictionary, I need to write two curly braces. Okay. List, tuple, set, and dictionary. Okay, clear to everyone? So just to summarize how we can initialize different empty structures: empty list, empty tuple, empty set, and empty dictionary. Clear? Okay. Now let's see. Let's store some key value pairs inside my contacts. Okay. So contacts equal to, as I said, within the curly braces, I can basically store my key value pairs. Let's add some friends name, separate colon, and his contact is say 1234. Okay, so suppose this is an extension Mary, her contact is say 5678. Bob, his contact is say, sorry, this doesn't need to be a string, his contact is a numeric. So Bob, the contact is say 9021, something like that, and so Sarah, her contact is 5689, something like that. Okay, all right. So this dictionary consists of 4 elements. Each element consists of a key and value. All right. Okay. So if I print the dictionary, let's see. So here it is going to print the entire dictionary. All right. Now, suppose I want to search some value corresponding to key. Okay. Suppose I want to find out what is the number or what is the extension number of Mary. So how can I do so? I can simply write print contacts, and within the square bracket I need to pass my key, which is Mary in this case. Okay. So this is going to return 5678, which is the extension, contacts extension of Mary. Okay. So dictionary name within square bracket, you need to pass the key. If you pass the key to a dictionary, it is going to return the value. All right. So it's same as finding the meaning of a word from a dictionary. Okay. If suppose you want to find the meaning of a word, so you search for the corresponding words in a dictionary, and then you can find the corresponding meaning. So in this case, the key is your word that you want to find, and the value is the corresponding meaning or the details. All right. So the concept is basically the same. Dictionary, the name came from there. Basically, in the dictionary, you search for a key and then you get the value. That's it. Okay. Now, suppose you want to find the contact of some person who is not there in your dictionary. So, for example, Amit. Amit is not there in your dictionary. So, if you run it, it's going to give you an error. Okay. So, to avoid that, you can basically put a check. So, if Amit in contacts, that means Amit is in contacts is going to be true if this is a valid key, otherwise it is going to be false. So if this is true, then it is going to return the corresponding value, otherwise it is not going to do anything. Okay, so it is not going to return anything because Amit is not there in the list. Otherwise, you can also use the function get, contacts.get. Okay, so suppose you are passing a key that is not there in this dictionary to this get function. So let's print and check. So this is going to return none. Okay, because Amit is not there in the dictionary. Okay, so your program will not crash if you use the get function, but it is not going to return anything because the contact is not there in the dictionary. All right. So if you use the contact.get, it is not going to crash. All right. Okay. So if there is some valid key, say Mary, then it is going to return the number. Otherwise, it is going to return none. All right. Okay. Now, inside this get function, you can optionally pass a second argument. Okay. So, for example, I'm passing say 411. Okay. So, what happens is that inside this get function, it is going to the get function is going to check whether this is a valid key or not. If it is a valid key, it is going to return the corresponding value. But if it is not a valid key, then it is going to return the value that is written over here. Okay, so for example, Amit is not a valid key, it is not there in the dictionary, so it is going to print 41. Now let's see. So if I write contact.get say Mary 411, it is going to return 5678 because Mary is in the is a valid key. Okay, in that case it is not going to return the default value. The default value will be returned only if the key is not present in the dictionary. Okay, clear to all of you? Okay, that's all about the get function. Now suppose I want to add more details. So I want to add more friends as well as their contact information. I can simply write contacts, new key, say John, equal to the corresponding extension, say 54532. Let's add two more contacts, say Carol 8912. Print contacts is going to print two additional entries that I have entered over here. Okay. Now, if you want to remove some entries, you need to use the function called pop. So contact.pop. Suppose you want to remove the entry for Carol, so you can pass Carol inside this pop function to print contact details. Here it is going to return the dictionary without Carol. Okay, clear to all of you? Okay. Now suppose I want to print the details in each and every line. So one line will give me the details of one key and one value. Okay. How can I do so? So it is pretty simple. For key in contacts, I'm going to print. So percentage first is the key. Next I'm going to print the value. So key and the contacts corresponding to those key. Okay. That's it. Let's see. So here we can see that it is going to print the key and the value in each and every line. Okay. So basically it is going to print in a table format. All right. So it is going to print the key and value in a table format. Now suppose I want to sort these entries with respect to my friend's name. You can simply use the sorted function. So the key in sorted contacts, that means first it is going to sort the dictionary with respect to the keys. Okay. So here you can see Bob is coming first, Fred, John, Mary, sir. Okay, so first it is sorting the dictionary with respect to the key, and then it is going to read the keys as well as the values one by one and print it. Okay. So these are some basic functions of a dictionary. Okay, how to declare an empty dictionary, how to initialize the dictionary that consists of different key value pairs, and how to access the values corresponding to different keys, how to use the get function, how to add more contacts, and how to remove the contacts. And then here I have shown you the use of sorted function. Okay. So this whole thing is going to print the dictionary in a table format. All right. Okay. So here I can see that if I give the key to a dictionary, it is going to return the value. Okay. All right. Now let's do a different operation, or let's write a program that is going to do the different operation. So suppose I want to search that corresponding to a particular value, what is the corresponding key? Okay. So suppose if I want to write a function that is going to take one value, say 9021, and it is going to return Bob. Okay. I want to do the reverse operation. And to make the problem a little bit complicated, let's let's define a new rule that corresponding to a particular number, there may be multiple users or employees. Okay, so for example, 9021 can be shared among multiple employees. All right, so it is very realistic that multiple employees are using the same phone in a shared space. Okay, so 3 employees are using the same room and they are sharing the same phone number. So in that case, corresponding to a particular phone number, for example, this phone number, maybe this phone number is shared by 3 people, 3 different people. So if I want to see that, or if I want to check that who are the people whom I can reach with this phone number, it is going to return all the 3 names. Okay. So I want to search the keys corresponding to a value where a value may be shared by multiple keys. All right. So let's write a program to solve this problem. So let's open a file. Let's call it, say, contacts. Python. Let's edit the configuration. Okay. So here, let me just take the same dictionary, or let's start with the same dictionary. And then here, as I said, that the same value or the same phone number may be shared among multiple employees. Okay. Suppose this is a employee contact list, but the keys are the employees and the values are their contact extension. Okay. So say this 9021 is shared by 3 people. Say Carol is also using the same number 9201. Then say 1234 is also shared by another employee, say Amit. 1234. And 9231 is 9201 is also shared by, say, Alice. Okay. So there are some repetition. All right. So in this dictionary, from this dictionary, I want to write a function called, say, find names. Find the names of the employee that are having a particular contact number, say, or contact extension 9201. Okay. And this is going to return a list because there may be multiple employees that share who share the same number. So this list I'm going to print. All right. So this find name is giving red underline because I didn't write the function. So let's write this down. And this is taking the dictionary and the number. Okay. So the idea is that, so this function is going to return a list. Okay. So I'm going to start with an empty list. And then I'm going to check the corresponding values one by one, or corresponding numbers one by one. If the number matches, I'm going to add the corresponding name to the list. All right. So I can write for keys in contacts. If contacts of keys is equal to number, I'm going to append the corresponding keys to the list. Okay. If contact of keys is equal to the number, I'm going to append the corresponding keys. Okay. If the number matches, I'm going to add the corresponding keys, which is basically the name of the employees. Right. And then at the end, I'm going to return the num list. Okay. basically this is not num list, this is, let's call it name. It's not the number of employees, but the name of the employees. Let's call it name. All right, so that's it. If I run it, so corresponding to 9201, it is returning Carol and Alice. Okay. So okay, so 9201, it is returning Carol and Alice because these two employees are using this phone number or phone extension. Okay. Let's make this also 9201. So in that case, it is going to return Bob, Carol, and Alice. All three employees are sharing the same phone extension, Bob, Carol, and Alice. Okay. Suppose I am just passing 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is shared by Fred and Amit. Okay, Fred is sharing 1, 2, 3, 4 with Amit. All right. And if I pass phone number or phone extension like 5, 6, 7, 8, this is only used by Mary, so it is going to return Mary. Okay. All right. So in this way, we can see that we can search different keys corresponding to the values. Okay. In the previous program, I have shown you how to find values corresponding to the keys from a dictionary, and here I've shown you how to find keys corresponding to different values. All right. Okay. Now, in these examples, I have basically, shown you that the key may be a string and the value may be a integer or something. All right. But in general, it may be a little bit complicated. So, for example, so let's take this example. So in general, the dictionary may be a little bit complicated. So a dictionary, the keys may be a string. The values may consist of a set or a list also. Okay. So for example, the keys may be a bunch of people and the values may consist of a list of colors that the person likes. Okay. So for example, Fred likes a color or a set of colors, red, green, and yellow. So here the key is basically string, which is basically the name of the people. The values may be a set of colors. Okay, or the values may be a list also. All right. So a general dictionary structure may be more